Hello. It is really early in the morning and I am feeling a little bit tired, but I took a nap earlier and then I woke up from my nap. Should have been asleep, but I did wake up and now my sleep is kind of ruined. So I figured I would just chat a bit and then see if that inspired my call to sleep. um, but I was thinking about a couple of things earlier today. Um, One being how people communicate, and I realized that in growing up in New York and in honestly having immigrant families, or like specifically Dominican immigrant family, um, direct communication is something that the people I tend to be around really appreciate. And ostensibly, I have ADHD, so this is something that the people around me also like do. I'm so used to people communicating exactly what's on their mind. So whenever I meet someone and they have like an elusive way of communicating, I do find it slightly frustrating. And I say that because I went on a first date today, and I think the person and I had different styles of communication, which was so interesting to witness because like they would ask a question and I would just be like, I would just have to re-say the question I thought they were asking just to confirm because I wasn't sure what they were asking. And then I guess my style of communication might have felt really direct because I would say something, or there was this one instance where I said something and the person seemingly got very defensive. And I was like, ooh. And I don't know if anyone knows or if anyone cares to know, but I deleted the dating apps a while ago. And this person is just someone who I had met on the apps prior to deleting, or I had started talking to prior to the deleting of the apps. So it was interesting to see how this date went when I was kind of already on the way out from dating apps. I think what I'm really wanting to do is just to give up dating for a while. And hi, mamas. My cat's name is Pinky Mamas. Yes, and she looks at me because she knows I just said her name. And also, whenever she hears me talking to someone, she starts wanting to come to the phone. But I'm hoping she won't kind of disrupt my setup that I've got going on here. Hey, mamas. So I was thinking about communication, and then I was also thinking about why I find it so irritating to be catcalled. And obviously, a lot of us get catcalled frequently, but I noticed in the neighborhood that I live in New York, I never get catcalled in that neighborhood. Like, it's never an experience that I have. So the moment I leave that neighborhood, the getting catcalled tends to start happening again. Literally, if I walk 20 blocks in any direction, I start getting catcalled. Um, so it's really kind of frustrating. And the reason why I hate getting catcalled is because I can be like walking and in the moment and just vibing, enjoying the movement of my hips, because I recently started walking in a way that kind of released the tension in my hips. And I think what I'm really doing is just swaying my hips more, which is just the way it probably would happen if I weren't hyper aware of my body. But the moment someone catcalls me, it like brings my focus outside of my body, and then I start perceiving how I'm walking, how I'm moving through space, how other people might perceive the way I'm moving through space, and then I'm like aware of where I am in terms of the distance from where I'm trying to go. Ugh, I hate being catcalled. It's such a pest. It's such an unfortunate experience that I have, and I think the reason why I get catcalled a lot, and I do think I probably get catcalled more than average, just is because I am a black woman, and I think unconsciously people tend to move through space, and by people I mean men. Men tend to move through space with an unconscious entitlement to black women's bodies. I think this is something that was introduced when black women would be enslaved, and just over time, as people started unconsciously programming that blackness was like blackness, guys, have patience for my English. When people were programming that blackness meant something other than human, maybe 3/5 the human, for those who remember that. Um, Another thing I really wanted to talk about, whenever she does that, it stresses me out because I'm like, what's happening back there? And it's her climbing up the chair. Damn it, and she made me lose my train of thought. Mama, you made me lose my train of thought, Diva. What happened? Why you climb up like that? Well, don't start. Don't start. Don't start. Don't start. Don't start. She's so annoying sometimes. You! I'm talking to you. She's getting the zoomies. It is right around that time. Get away from me. Get. Move. Loser. Now I'm berating my cat. See, I keep forgetting what I'm saying. I'll look back and then I'll be like, that's exactly what you were trying to say. And I'll just say it in another video. People intellectualizing their feelings. Wonderful. I don't think people realize that in intellectualizing their feelings, that can happen through you kind of acknowledging how something went, but not understanding how to like process how that felt or process the feelings that came up. But it can also look like you were going to spirituality for every single thing. And I think spirituality is a very helpful tool, specifically for people who grew up in Catholicism, because Catholicism does remove a lot of agency, and I think spirituality reintroduces that agency. But I also think that there's kind of a certain amount of looking to spirituality and like the structures that have been in place. For example, cards, numbers, astrology. Like, I think some people often rely on these structures in order to feel what they're feeling. For example, if someone's having a hard time communicating, they'll be like, I'm having a hard time communicating because Mercury is in retrograde. Instead of understanding that that tightness in their stomach or that heaviness on their chest might be, regardless of why they're feeling that, those sensations in the body, might be affecting how comfortable or safe or confident they're feeling around communicating. And that tightness can be caused by a lot of things. It can be caused by being dehydrated, not eating enough. It can be caused by you not realizing that 3 years ago someone you love passed away. It can be caused by you not receiving enough of a certain vitamins, for example, vitamin D, if you've been surviving through the winter. There's a lot of reasons why sensations can come up. And sometimes when you're busy looking to external things to validate why you get to feel that way, I think it really kind of removes the humanness of your experience. And this is not to judge, because I do think people find resources whenever they need to find them. It's also something I've just noticed. There was another point that I thought of when I said that. Damn it. It'll come to me. I have these really cute like pads for my wrist for when I'm typing. Like this one has gold and pink, and I just love squeezing it. And this one goes in front of my keyboard, and then the one for my mouse is here. If I'm being honest, I like the one for my mouse more than I like the one for my keypad, but they're both necessary, frankly. And then this also came with like a long pad. It's behind me, but I ended up putting it on my chair for when my cat decides to climb up the chair. I'm hoping it reduces the amount of damage happening, because she's quite literally depedazando, which is, I don't know the term for that in English, but she's like taking chunks out of my chair. I'm like, girl, I got this 2 weeks ago. Okay, it's not a cheap chair. But I do love her. I'm such a cat mom. I'm such a cat lady, guys. I wish I had been put onto cats earlier. I grew up with dogs. Respect to the dog community, but for my nervous system, cats are much better, because the loudness really disrupts how I'm feeling, like the barking. And how are you going to tell a dog not to bark? That's like telling the sun not to shine, you know? But for my body, I know the cats make more sense, because they don't really make loud noises. They might yowl. I don't know if you, oh my god, girl. She'll do this nonsense. But it doesn't disrupt me the way barking would disrupt me at 2 a.m. Where is this girl? Also, these things that you see in my hair, I got some hair elongators. There she is. Her eyes are killing me, which is so funny. She's just looking. Hair elongators, and I tied them in the back with a scarf, hoping that they wouldn't fall off while I sleep. This is my first night using them. I used them earlier in the day, and I'm just hoping it'll mean I don't have to do my hair every morning. If I'm like kind of tending to it at night, I like spritz some water in my hair because there's already product in it, and then I put the elongators. So we'll see if it holds up. Damn it, there was another point I was wanting to get at, and I can't remember. I was talking about intellectualizing feelings, and feeling our feelings, and the reasons behind why someone might be feeling something. Get off of me. What the fuck? Guys, I be cursing. I curse like a sailor. As a matter of fact, get off the chair. Get off the chair. That's enough. You're doing too much. Get off the chair, mama. You're doing way too much. Digging her nails into my back, guys. I promise she only gets like this when I'm on the phone. She don't be doing this. It's because she's like, oh, you're talking to someone? And I'm like, girl, please relax. Deep breaths here. Deep breaths. It's 2 a.m. I'm talking because my mind and its sleeping rhythm was literally disrupted about an hour ago. I was watching a movie with my friends. It's Christmas in July. We were watching the Elf movie. She's so funny. We were watching the Elf movie. We started watching this at 10. It's a fairly long movie, and we might have paused. And so I took a nap mid-movie, and then I woke up, and we were talking for a while. And then I ended up going to my room to sleep. And then from there, I realized, oof, I am in my room now, but I'm not feeling called to rest. I'm feeling called to chat, because my friends and I were chatting, and that chattingness was activated within me. But I do look very tired. I really do hope this works. It would mean so many new things for me and how I manage my hair. I don't know how long. Okay, I want to touch on one more subject before I head out for the night. And I guess what I think that would be is... Give me a second. Oopsies. Finding work that really helps your body rest. Like, I had been working so hard for the last 2.5 years after I graduated college to find a job that feels good. And I'm so grateful because right now I have a job that is very much pretty like somatics, but also supervisory. And I think that's wonderful for me because it lets me have the expertise that I have. And I love that that's how my coworkers refer to what I have as expertise. And then it also allows me to feel more safety in my body around work. And truly, I didn't expect to have like an employer that would help me feel this type of safety. And I have just got into this job, so we're going to continue observing. But like genuinely, the values of this company is something that I never expected in a company. It's something that my imagination could only put together through, for example, entrepreneurship and having my phone is about to die. But my imagination could have only imagined that through entrepreneurship and having my own clients, for example. But I never thought it could be in this method where it's a community of people who are really wanting to enact change in a way that is different from what we've seen before. In a way that even for people where we don't like them, still imagines the humanity of that person. And we're able to hold both the truths of, I don't like this person, I don't like how they make me feel, I don't like how they show up, I don't like how they make the people I care for feel. But also seeing that this person is probably very stressed and they're probably under-resourced, and whatever patterns they're projecting onto others, they've probably had projected onto them. And I really enjoy the process of humanizing even the people I dislike. And I think that's a really helpful tool for people who are building community in a sustainable way, at least. Because it's really easy to take things personally when people are compartmentalized into horrible people who are doing bad things to you. And I'm very pro seeing not necessarily the goodness in people, but the nuance in people, like I just explained. So I'm very excited. I feel very good about the work that I'm doing. And I think feeling good about the work that I'm doing is really showing up in my day-to-day. It's motivating me to be healthier so I have the bandwidth. It's motivating me to try new things, new projects, new forms of art, new methods of taking care of my body. And I genuinely think, and I was telling this to my boss the other day, and my eyes get watery when I talk about this because I'm so grateful, I genuinely think I manifested the fuck out of my job. Because I was like, there's no way I'm working this hard for nothing. Like this, my North Star was feeling safety in my body, and I wasn't going to stay somewhere unless I felt safety in my body while working there. And for example, at this job, I can see myself staying for quite a while. And then something else that I feel very held by is that my boss is constantly saying that she should be paying us more. And I'm getting paid now, frankly, more than I was getting paid in my last role where I was doing 4 times the work. So I'm like, I love that. I love that there's not this sense of complacency with her own style of management, and there's this deep gratitude that she has for the people who she's chosen to come onto this team. I'm so grateful, and I did manifest that. And frankly, if I were to give any advice around manifesting, it would literally be just know that what you want, however it ends up showing up, because I didn't even think it was going to be through an employer. I thought it was going to be through me getting clients on my own. But I knew I was going to have safety in my day-to-day. And I didn't care how it was. I just knew I was not going to stay in one environment and compromise and settle, because I knew the safety that I have felt prior to the last 2 years is something that my body worked well with. Oh, great. And then the intellectualizing the feelings also made me think of how some people will be like, oh, like, they'll rationalize, for example, finding a partner who's going to pay for their things. They'll be like, yeah, well, I have additional risk when it comes to dating. And that is very true. And I will also use that as a talking point because women and femmes tend to take on more risk than masculine presenting people or actual men in intimate relationships, because the relationships don't exist inside of a cocoon. It exists 2 people together, but they're still having to interact with all of society. And another talking point people will use is pregnancy as a risk. But I don't think you have to have a reason for a standard. And frankly, I don't even think you have to be giving yourself a standard to expect for someone else to give it to you. I think it makes more sense. I think it makes it more sustainable. I think it makes it healthier so you're not reliant on this person. But I think you can make up whatever rule you want in your partnerships. And the reason why I'm asking this is because my therapist the other day, and she's a great therapist, but this question really stood out. I told her that I was materialistic, and she was like, you're not materialistic, you just like nice things. And I was like, valid. And then she asked me, are you giving yourself nice things? And I was like, yeah, girl, look around. But then I was like, even if I weren't giving myself nice things, which I am, and I still wanted a partner who gave me nice things, that would make sense. You know? Like, I don't think you have to have a reason behind your wants. I'm pro just want what you want for the reason that you're wanting it. Because if you're trying to make sense for your wants or rationalize your wants. I think that's another method that we intellectualize our feelings, because if you're having an affinity towards something, you just have that affinity. Like, you don't have to justify why your body feels excited about something. You just get to feel excited about the possibility of your body receiving that something. And I'm really glad I remembered that, because that's something I wanted to address. This ended up being a really good yap session. So I'm really happy I got on here. I do have a new guide that I'm releasing. It's still in the pre-sale era, so make sure you purchase it now, because the price will be going up on August 1st when I officially release it. It's a somatic guide to, what is it called? I'm sorry guys, I touched on so many things in the guide that I don't even know what the name is, honestly, but I guess the North Star is kind of decentering men. Oh, thank God. So it's a guide that is somatically informed around decentering men. It has a lot of topics that I'm covering. Let me see if the piece of paper that I use to brainstorm is here. Okay, some questions that the guide is going to answer is how to stop feeling like you need to be useful, how to stop being useful, how to stop perceiving yourself as a tool for others, and just perceiving yourself as someone that can show up. Another question we're going to be answering in this guide is how to build community in a sustainable way, how to build a community that is centered around the safety and the preferences of women and children. I like to allude this to a matriarchal community and a matriarchal society. How to make friends that empower you to feel your feelings and to hold space for what is your truth. I'm going to be answering how to have a dating life that feels fun. And I did delete the apps, and I did go on this very interesting date today, but I still think dating is a fun thing for me to do. Like, once I'm ready, I will probably go back into the dating scene. And I've had great experiences overall, but this is something that we're going to get into. And the reason why I think I have good experiences when it comes to dating is because, like I said earlier, I don't police my wants. I just say my wants. And in relationships, I position my wants as just, frankly, a need, because my body is just used to the pleasure that I allow it to feel, especially in romantic relationships. Another question I'm going to answer in this guide is how do you make a partner that you might already have value you? And I think that also speaks to the last point I was talking about. And then the last question that we're definitely going to be talking about in this guide is how to stop feeling so anxious. I know so many people who are in this constant state of anxiety. And when I was younger and prior to the somatic work that I've done, I was also in a constant state of anxiety. So I understand completely. I do not think this is something that is your fault if you have any of these questions. I think this is something that society primes women and femme presenting people to kind of ruminate on. So I'm so excited about this guide. It will be in the link at the top of whatever page you're finding my profile on. So just click on it, read through the blurb, see if it sparks some curiosity. And if it does, I do recommend that you get it now while it's on a better price, because it will be going up. I'm going to sleep now, guys.